Said it was always Spurs.
Guys, if you don't hold me, I'm going to shout. If somebody does not hold me, I'm going to shout, Kudus, 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 Mohammed Kudus. Guys, are you not entertained? Comment Kudus. In my previous video, I asked Mohammed Kudus that, please give me something to work with. And Kudus said, Adam, don't worry about that thing. Because every little thing is gonna be all right. Guys, it is all right. Comment Kudus.
Speak about. Gets his body in the way of things, and look at that. Can protect the ball from Norgard and stay in possession.
Today, Tottenham beat Arsenal in pre-season by 1-0. And I'm excited to say Mohammed Kudus was my man of the match. Mohammed Kudus was playing as if he was possessed by some spirit. Pele spirit, Maradona spirit were all in one person. Look, the way Kudus was playing, I didn't even notice he was the one. He was too much today. I was shocked. The whole stadium, both Arsenal and Tottenham fans were shocked. They were like, who is this boy? Who is this boy? That is Kudus for you. Guys, comment Kudus. We are about to talk about that game. So please battle up, because I'm here to tell you a lot about that game. The performance from Arsenal, performance from Tottenham Hotspur, and also performance from Mohammed Kudus. And I'm sure you are going to enjoy this video, because what Kudus did today was mind-blowing. Look, Kudus is a superb player, and Tottenham Hotspur, you have an important player on your hands. So guys, quickly, let's jump into it and talk about that game. Now, let's start with the starting lineup. Arsenal, I was expecting two players to start in that game. Zubimendi and Gyökeres. They did not start in the game. Instead, Norgard and Kai Havertz started. And it was okay for me. I thought it was a decent starting lineup from Arsenal. For Tottenham Hotspur, I was expecting Solanke to start in this game, but then Richarlison started. I was okay with it. Spurs was playing that left back position. I was quite surprised, because in the past 2 games I've seen him in preseason, he was playing as a right back. But this time around, he was playing as a left back. I just wanted to see the idea from the coach. And I'm going to give the coach his flowers, because today, in the first half, Tottenham played extremely well. Now, let's go into the game. In the first 10 to 15 minutes, it was all Arsenal. Arsenal were possessing the ball. Arsenal was dictating the pace. But what Tottenham did that I was quite impressed about in the first 10 to 15 minutes was how they defended. They were so disciplined and focused. And I think it has to do with coaching. Look, for players to defend for a full 10 to 15 minutes without losing focus is crazy and serious. And it's not like only defenders performing this task. The whole team was performing it, high pressing. They were doing it, and it was so coordinated and beautiful to watch. So in the first 10 to 15 minutes, Arsenal were possessing the ball. Arsenal was dictating the pace, and Tottenham Hotspur were just waiting for their time. They were waiting for their chance to pounce. And when they had their time in the first half, it was over for Arsenal. It was over. That was when Mohammed Kudus started dictating the pace for Tottenham Hotspur. In that Tottenham Hotspur team today, Kudus was their best player. He was the one making things happen. Look, Odebert did very well on the left wing, but on the right wing, if you want one player that was causing problems to Skelewu, do you know who I'm calling Skelewu? Luis Kelly. He's called Skelewu. Today, Kudus disciplined that boy. If I were Nuno Mendes, I won't play the Super Cup. I won't play it, because what Kudus did today, yeah, it was mind-boggling. For every player that is going against Kudus, you need to psych your mind. Otherwise, you are going to hurt your feelings, because Kudus is going to disgrace you. And that is what he did to Skelewu today. He did that to Luis Kelly today. And I was so surprised. That's what I said. I did not recognize Kudus, because it was as if he was possessed. He just wanted to do the impossible, and he did it. He did it. Look, in that game, what I noticed was that Tottenham were doing so well with set pieces. In the just ended season, we're all praising Arsenal for using set pieces to their advantage. But today, It was Tottenham rather doing those things. Look, they were able to hit the woodwork twice through set pieces. It is just too crazy. And I feel like Thomas Frank is doing something marvelous with this team because using set pieces to hit the woodwork twice, which could have resulted into a goal, is a work in progress. Already in preseason, they have used corner kicks to score a goal. So you could say it's something that they are working on come next season. It was just impressive to see. One thing I also noticed was that they have multiple set pieces takers. You see Mohammed Kudus taking a set piece, especially let's say if it's a corner or free kick, from the left-hand side. And if it's from the right-hand side, Pedro Porro is the one taking it. Because every single corner was like inverted. It was going in. It's not an outer one. There was an inner one. That was why it was hitting the woodwork. Excellent performance. And I like the tactics to use set pieces to your advantage. And I think Tottenham Hotspur did that extremely well. For me, I feel Arsenal lost that midfield. And I feel like Thomas Partey has not been fully replaced. I get the whole Zubimendi argument, but today he did not start. I saw Nogard. Nogard is not it. Nogard is not Thomas Partey. He's not even half of Thomas Partey and what he does for us now. Don't get me wrong. I love Thomas Partey a lot. Nogard, I respect him. But then after watching Nogard today, no. Thomas Partey would have bust down midfield. They allowed Mohammed Kudus to razzle and dazzle, dribble, and he was... Look, today Kudus was so strong on the ball to the extent that I was asking myself, is it that none of these Arsenal players can take the ball from Mohammed Kudus? Can't they dispossess him? He was too strong for the midfield. It was so crazy today that the whole midfield of Arsenal, Nogard, Odegaard, they couldn't do anything about Mohammed Kudus holding on to the ball. Like, Kudus was available to collect that ball. He was available to receive that ball. And whenever he receives the ball, you know there's trouble coming. And today, I think Arsenal, they lost the game in midfield. After that 15 minutes, they lost the whole game in midfield. It was over for them. Bukayo Saka couldn't do anything. Martinelli couldn't do anything because the supplies were not coming. Even if the supplies got to them, the defenders were ready to make sure that they do their job. So for me, in the first half, I loved everything. And the goal, look, that goal was just superb. Pape Matesa scoring an excellent goal. That is individual brilliance. That is a player that is leading the game, and I like it for him. So at the end of the day, that was the only goal that was scored in the game. Now, in the second half, I felt like Arsenal were pressing the issue. They started very well like they did in the first, 10 to 15 minutes. They did the same thing in the second half. But even as at that, it only happened in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Afterwards, Tottenham were matching them boot for boot in the second half. The only time I feel like Arsenal had a grip on the game in the second half was when Mohammed Kudus was substituted out. That was the only time they had a grip on that game. Could you imagine a game Arsenal played against Tottenham Hotspur? Tottenham hit the woodwork 3 times. 3 times in the game. It is mind-boggling. So for me, I feel like Tottenham could have easily scored 2 or 3 goals in the game. But let's talk about Mohammed Kudus a bit. And I know this is what everyone is waiting for. So let's talk about Mohammed Kudus today. Look, first thing I noticed was that Kudus taking set pieces has been excellent. It has been really, really excellent today. His set pieces were so good. And anytime he was switching play, it was excellent. He was locating his player. And I love what he did with his set pieces, both corner kicks and free kicks. Also, Kudus was able to hit the woodwork. And I felt like he should have gotten an assist today. Don't get me wrong. He did everything possible to at least score or give an assist. Because Richarlison, I don't know what you were thinking. That ball, you don't even need to do too much. Just move your body. That's why I like Andre Dide Ayew. I'm not going to lie to you. If it was him in that position, you will know the result is going to be different. I felt like Kudus deserved an assist today because Richarlison could not really concentrate and his mistiming really destroyed everything. But then, regardless of that, that ball actually hit the woodwork. That shows you how good Mohammed Kudus is. One thing I also noticed was that the relationship, the communication, the telepathy between Kudus and Pedro Porro was A1. It was nice to see these 2 players. In my previous video, I was complaining about Kudus and his relationship and partnership with Spence. I did not like it. But Pedro Porro is giving me something to smile about. Guys, comment Kudus. Like, I love the way Pedro Porro and Mohammed Kudus communicated to each other. You could see It looks so nice. It happened naturally. You would think these players were playing for a very long time. And I love that for Mohammed Kudus. Now let's talk about the dribbles. Today, Kudus was all over. He was dribbling left, right, front, center. And Arsenal players could not stop him. Not Skelewu. Skelewu could not stop him. The defense. No, it got to a point about 3 or 4 players who were trying to take the ball off Mohammed Kudus. And it's not easy to do that. It is not easy. Like in that game, Kudus looked like the strongest player in the game. He did an excellent job in that one. Also, you see, there's a way you play when you get substituted. Your coach will hug you. That was the feeling. Thomas Frank had Mohammed Kudus and was like, God damn it. He was like, God damn it, I have a player. You know, Kudus is just crazy. The coach had to hug him and like, God, you play so well. So, guys, that was one thing I also noticed that was extremely, extremely, extremely good about Mohammed Kudus. But overall, let's give Mohammed Kudus 8.0 rating because I felt like he did an excellent job looking at the opponents they were facing. If this was a proper EPL game, I'm telling you, Kudus, his name would have been mentioned throughout. You see, it pains me that Kudus is not getting the hype he deserves because he's from Ghana, he's from Africa. We don't like to hype our own. If it is you're hyping your own, people find offense to it and like, why are you hyping him? Why are you overhyping him? Did you see the way he performed? Now, Arsenal fans are on social media saying that their team should have signed Mohammed Kudus instead of Tottenham Hotspur. Go on social media and go and check. Arsenal fans are saying that Arsenal should have signed Mohammed Kudus because looking at the way he's playing, he plays better than Martinelli. Kudus plays way better than Martinelli. Don't get me wrong. Bukayo Saka was in that game. But no one mentioning Bukayo Saka's name. But everybody's mentioning Mohammed Kudus' name. It's because of how he played. He played only 63 minutes and left an everlasting memory, an everlasting impression on us, on me. And I couldn't stop. I was shouting, Kudus, Kudus, Kudus. I was behaving like a madman. I'm not going to lie to you. Every single time he was on the ball, it was like something was wrong with my mind. I was shouting, Kudus, Kudus. God, Kudus is going to kill me. I'm not going to lie to you, but Kudus was excellent today. And I believe Tottenham Hotspur fans, they have seen firsthand what Kudus is all about, what Kudus would add to this team. I'm not talking only about Kudus, but Odibet also did an extremely good job. I'm not going to lie to you. These 2 players, left wing, right wing, Odibet, Mohammed Kudus, 2 of them, they won my heart today. And I'm proud to be a Tottenham Hotspur fan. I can confidently say that Tottenham Hotspur is going to be in top 6 come next season. If they can play like this against all the teams, top 6, they would be there. Top 6. I have a feeling it would be possible for them. But then, guys, today Kudus was just excellent. Both offensively, defensively, off the ball, on the ball, he was just too good. And my name is Adam. Thanks for watching. I love Kudus. I know you love Kudus. That's why you're watching this. Thanks to Tottenham Hotspur, I'm going to give the coach Thomas Frank his flowers because he did an excellent job tactically in the game that they won against Arsenal. The truth of the matter is, Tottenham have won a trophy. Arsenal has not won. Let's consider this as a plastic calf. Still, Tottenham won a trophy. Arsenal have not won a trophy yet. Please, look, Arsenal looks like they don't like trophies. They hate trophies. But looking at the way Tottenham played today, they walked away with a trophy. And I want to say I loved everything I saw today. I loved how Mohammed Kudus plays. I love how Tottenham Hotspur played. Arsenal, they need to work because in preseason alone, they have already considered in every single game. Against AC Milan, they considered a goal. Against Newcastle United, they considered a goal. Against Tottenham Hotspur, they have considered a goal. And this is not something they have to take lightly. You understand my point? This is not something they have to take lightly. But look, I don't want to talk too much. If I want to talk too much, you are not going to end this. So please, I'm going to end here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also turn on notifications. Check the pinned comment for the highlights of the game. I'll see you in the next one. Charlie, we go live.